It's like you took a big ass, huge horse pill antibiotic, took a drink of water, and it's still like hanging in your throat, and you taste a bit of it.
Where are you getting your antibiotics from?
From the antibiotic store.
From an equine veterinarian. Welcome back to Arsenic Culture, where beer don't count, but the bad decisions do. I'm Matt.
I'm Jason.
I'm Drew, and we're about to make some bad decisions.
We're about to make a lot of bad decisions. If you are watching and not listening, you can see that I have 8 bottles of liquor in front of me right now. But I got a question for you, gentlemen. Have you ever ordered a drink that you were excited about and then had it and were absolutely, utterly disappointed?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
What'd you have?
I mean, I've had bad, like, old fashions.
Yeah,
I ordered old fashioned, like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever, like, I
You've
remember
never had
in
like
college,
a bottle where you're kind of like, oh, I can't wait to try it, and then you're like,
in college, I ordered like the blue drink and didn't really, it looked pretty.
The blue drink?
Yeah, I mean, they're just colors.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
It's like, I'm good. I don't want that shit.
We talked about cocktails
We
and stuff
did.
before,
We did,
yeah,
yeah.
and like Mad Dog 2020 and how blue curacao was a thing back then.
I've not been too exploratory in bars, like, you know, throughout my career, drinking career.
What about you, Jim?
Yeah, I was actually in high school in Europe, and I was at a bar in Rome at our hotel, and I see this bartender drinking this red kind of pinkish drink, and I was like, oh, sweet. And I said, what is that? And he goes, oh, it's vodka and Campari. And I was like, I'll try one of those.
Never had Campari before.
Not good for a 15-year-old palate.
Yeah, which if you watch our Amara episode, it is very bitter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
For a 15-year-old palate. That took me a second to register.
What about you?
Yeah, I'm sure I have. I asked you all this question. I didn't even think about it. But yeah, I know we've had bottles in the past.
Oh, for sure, beer.
Especially with
Yeah.
beer, you know, where it's just like something is like, oh, this is going to be amazing. I think more frequently, not frequently, more recently, it's a few years ago. I remember the first time I had, what's the sour brewery, pastry sour brewery out of Indiana or Illinois?
450 North.
450 North. The first time I had 450 North.
Yeah.
And everybody was talking about how amazing this beer is.
Yeah.
And we've had pastry sours and stuff before. And I was like, yeah, okay, I can't wait to try it. And somebody stood in line outside of the brewery for, 4 hours or whatever.
It's
and
me and Bill. You're welcome.
Probably, yeah. Brought these cans home and we opened them. And it was like, I think it was 3 or 4 of us the first time.
Yep.
And I think collectively we're waiting for the, oh my God. And then we all just drank it and we're just kind of like, huh.
That was my first and only trip there for that reason.
Yeah. And then we're just like, that's it? Like, it was just kind of it was like the letdown of all
I think the
letdowns.
key thing to people that liked those, they had one thing in common. They were all stoners.
Yeah.
Seriously.
They also
online, it was like...
They also lied about the ABV.
Oh, that too. Right, yeah. These are 8%. Now they're 1.5.
No, it's 1.5%.
It should have been called 420 North.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like the thing that is, I think, important to remember there is that the hype kind of builds it up. Like
sure.
the marketing, or in that case, it was more of the hype. But when it comes to like premium spirits and stuff, a lot of it really is just marketing.
100%.
Or is it? So that's the question that I had. I thought it'd be interesting to, well, look in front of us, get drunk, but B, we're going to do some blinds. And Drew and Jason, I'm going to put you to the test. I got to be the judge because somebody has to know which is which, right? But we have 8 different bottles of 4 different types of spirits here, and we're going to compare premium to non-premium in each one. So the things that really make a spirit premium, according to basically any spirit production company, are things like better ingredients, better sourcing, lack of additives, additional distillation, especially in stuff like vodka.
Extra
Still
age,
longer aging. Paying closer attention's a thing, the whole like artisanal aspect of it. And then obviously the marketing is just
Brand
premium.
mysticism. We
Brand
did
mysticism.
recently.
We talked about that last episode,
Yeah.
with the the Musk Beaver
right,
whiskey,
that's right.
which that actually sounds really interesting. We need to meet that guy. He sounds awesome.
I got the book. I'm going to read it. I don't read much, shockingly.
So for the bourbon matchup here, we have Benchmark and we have Eagleware. I'm looking at the back of these, so if I say it wrong, let me know. But what we're trying to compare here is that we have 2 of the same recipes.
Same mash bill, both from Buffalo Trace.
Both from Buffalo Trace.
Sazerac products.
But there is an age difference on them.
Correct.
So that's going to be the primary differentiator. Obviously, the marketing plays into this one too.
Benchmark's bottom shelf. Eagle Rare is premium allocated.
Yeah, exactly right. For the vodka over here on the left, we have Grey Goose, which is everybody knows what Grey Goose is. It's in every vodka, movie or every movie that uses vodka as a top shelf product. And then we got Kirkland American Vodka. You can see this bottle is already empty because this is our vodka of choice. But this is two very different distilleries, and there is actually a rumor floating around online that Kirkland Vodka is Grey Goose, just repackaged. That is actually not true. I thought I had that written down, but I didn't. But
looks like Grey Goose is made in France,
yes.
and this one's American vodka. So
it is, yeah.
That's the big difference.
They do have a French vodka too, but either way, I actually found the distillery. It's some company out of California.
Okay.
And the only vodka they actually make is something in Hawaii. It's kind of weird.
I don't.
They did a good job with it.
I'm not a big vodka guy, but I don't even know if I could taste the difference in any vodka.
Well, you're about to.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
I only drink my vodka that's been distilled 8 times or more. So
Yeah.
You do a little dance when you drink it, like the little. I don't know what they call that, but like the little.
For tequila, we have 2 bottles here, one very tiny bottle. We have Espolón Añejo, which is bourbon barrel finished. And then we have Don Julio 1942, which is a very popular, well-received top shelf tequila. A lot of pundits will say that the 1942 is overrated because it doesn't have a lot of extra flavor. Mm-hmm. Like it's kind of like dumbed down, I guess, for like, the regular person that just like, oh, it's a good tequila because it doesn't taste like tequila.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But for purists.
Yes, exactly. So the Don Julio is going to be our high-end one here. The Espolón is not. These are both añejo tequilas, which means they are both aged for an extended period of time. Don Julio is a little bit longer. But so for this one comparison, we're actually going to see relatively long aging, but we're looking at the marketing and then just like the distillery here. And then for the final one, we got rum over here. Exact same distillery. Assuming same recipe, not really sure. There's not a lot of information on it.
I would assume so.
Yeah, but we have Bacardi Gold, and then we got Bacardi Gran Reserva Diez, which is 10-year-old.
Okay.
So we're looking at mainly age statement here.
I like it.
So
And we got the Black Glencairns.
I got
so we
Black
can't
Glens
see into them. We
behind
do
this,
not know what's
behind
poured.
the wall of booze here. I got my judging booth. This is the best judging booth. We have the best judging booth ever. I got everything labeled here. And I say we do one spirit at a time.
Yeah.
And let you both try one of each, rotate, get your notes, and then you're going to have to see if you can figure out, not even figure out,
right,
which one do you like,
which one's better,
which one do you not
think
like,
it is.
and then we're going to see what is the top shelf one and which one's not. Okay, what do you want to start with? You want to start with vodka? Since it's
That's actually a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to see which one of these is distilled
All right.
8 times.
So these are each, same thing.
Yeah,
These
we
are
got
the
2
same.
different letters on the Glen so we can tell them apart.
Cool.
One is got the A on it, one's got the C. One is Grey Goose. One is going to be Kirkland.
Oh, I'm following now. Okay.
Yeah,
I was like,
you
wait,
both-
where's my second one? Wait, did you want to
Hey,
tell
what
me my second
are
one?
you waiting for? Do y'all want to like wrap your arms around it and like
Like Lady in the Tramp, sucking on lasagna or spaghetti.
So while you're doing that and doing your notes, I'll give a little bit of background on
Smells
these.
like vodka.
We just like that.
100%.
Yeah, the Kirkland vodka is around $14 for a giant ass bottle, and this is it's a liter and a half. I mean, this is a big ass bottle. Again, there's not a lot of info on it online. Costco keeps their information very closely guarded, but it is 40% alcohol. It is distilled 6 times. It is most likely a corn-based vodka. Kirkland American Vodka was actually voted the best vodka by Wirecutter magazine in 2024. But yeah, then there's a rumor that going around online that's like it could be Grey Goose, which again, it's not. I found it here. The distillery that makes Costco American Vodka is LaVecchi Corporation, and then the only vodka they have in their portfolio is Pall Mall, which is in Hawaii.
Not to be confused with Paul Wall.
Or Paul Mall.
Or Paul Mall.
Yeah. But they make a shitload of other stuff. They're just a very large like macro distiller. Grey Goose, on the other hand, is $24 for this 750 milliliter bottle. It is also 40% ABV, so they are the exact same strength. This is made with soft winter wheat, spring water, and then only goes through a single distillation, and it is lightly filtered, which they call polishing. So Grey Goose really makes it sound like the whole like process is part of it being such like a highly regarded vodka.
Now, what was the price difference on these two?
So Kirkland per ounce comes out to 28 cents per ounce.
Okay.
The Grey Goose comes out to 94 cents per ounce. So this is roughly $1 an ounce for the Grey Goose.
4 times, essentially.
Versus under 30 cents an ounce for the Kirkland.
Okay.
So what do y'all think?
I've got my decision and notes.
Okay. Give them to me, Jason.
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
I think I like A better, first off. I think it's Grey Goose.
Okay.
And I think C's Kirkland.
Okay. What kind of notes were you getting, like tasting notes were you getting?
So vodka to me should not have a flavor.
Right.
I think A is almost flavorless. And the other one, C, is like a little burn.
Okay.
I get like vanilla from C, maybe a little bit.
Okay.
Again, vodka is not my thing.
It's still
not my
vodka,
thing
yeah,
at
yeah.
all. So
What about you, Drew?
I agreed with A I thought had a little less burn to it.
Okay.
And I thought that, I mean, I know they're both the same, 80 proof.
Right.
This just smelled a little bit more.
yeah, I agree.
C.
If you told me it's
little
100,
bit more
I'd say I'd
stringent.
have believed you. 100 proof.
On that one. Yeah.
Okay.
And I thought the mouthfeel, weirdly, was a little bit better on.
Okay.
on
For the vodka one, you are both correct. Grey Goose was the A and Costco was the C.
I'm actually surprised though that there'd be that much difference between those two.
Well, you know what I'm noticing now? I think I had them in two different areas of the house because the Grey Goose is a little bit colder. And I'm wondering if that kind of froze it out a little bit, which could
Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little.
biased, yeah.
Well, you talk about like being a little bit like smoother
Yeah.
too. That could have
Yeah.
actually lent it to it, but
I would
yeah.
have thought. I'm surprised by that one. I am.
yeah. But you both picked out the high end one, so
Okay.
kudos to you, motherfuckers.
Yeah, we know.
Next, we're gonna go Tequila. So let's see here.
So I mean, what I'm thinking, I would assume the Don Julio's better. I don't know. I mean, compared to these two.
Yeah.
I have had a pour of it before. I don't think I've had the Espolón.
What's your flavor there? Or your
A. What do you have?
D.
All right, so for our tequilas, we've got Espolón and Yeho bourbon barrel finish, which I thought was kind of cool. That is $40 a bottle. It is 40% alcohol by volume, 100% agave, distilled twice, aged at least 12 months in white oak, and then finished in bourbon barrels. It's kind of cool. It actually sounded pretty good. When they say, you know what this means, Jason, when they say at least 12 months, that means it's usually blended, but the youngest that they use is 12 months. There could be some older product in that blend.
That's good.
Don Julio 1942 is $147 for a 750 milliliter bottle. If you get a 375, it's $98. If you get this tiny ass airplane bottle that I got, it's $17. I was not about to buy a big ass bottle of Don Julio for a fucking
wouldn't
taste
have either.
test. So we just got the little one here, but it's enough for what we're doing. The little bottle of Don Julio comes out to $10 an ounce.
Damn. Wow.
Yeah, and the Espolón comes out to $1.58 an ounce. Comparatively speaking, they're still like a little more expensive. Definitely more expensive than the vodka.
You can have that with your Wagyu beef too.
That's right.
Yeah. But
I want
the
to
Don
revisit
Julio,
these.
Yeah, the Don Julio is also 40% alcohol, 100% agave, aged at least 2.5 years. From what I saw, it is possible also bourbon barrels. And the year 1942 is actually the year when Don Julio himself got into making tequila. That's where the moniker comes from. Can you taste the marketing in that, Jason?
I do. I can see it through the black, soulless glass.
So what are you guys thinking? If you haven't made a decision yet, what are you thinking about the actual...
I think I'll let Drew go first on this one,
Okay.
though, since I went first last time.
Okay. I think that the A is the Don Julio.
Okay.
And I think that the D is the Esperanto. What is it?
Espolón?
Espolón.
Okay. What kind of notes are you getting on them?
The only reason I said that is because, and again, this may be because of what we talked about, the label. This had a little bit, not as, it's weird to say, like pure tequila flavor for me.
The D? Okay.
Yeah, because it may be picking up some of those other bourbon notes and stuff like that. Right. Again, I thought they were both quite good. This just tasted to me a little bit more like, I'd say pure tequila, but it was what I was expecting also maybe, if that makes sense.
You mean like basic or like...
No, not basic at all. I think it's complex.
Okay.
But it doesn't taste like it has anything extra. It's more of like a a purist kind of.
I agree. He thinks A is 1942.
Yeah.
I like A better, so I'll start with that.
Okay.
I do think it's 1942 maybe, but
Okay.
I also think the finish is better on that one. Like it's a little longer finish for me. A little more depth to everything on D on this one. It's good. I mean, first off, I would say I like A better. I also don't think the price difference there, no matter which one those are, I'm not paying
So you're
the difference.
saying they're
on.
pretty close.
Yeah.
They're pretty like, let's say one is a 4 and one's a 3.8. You know what I mean? Like it's
really?
like we're
Okay.
close for me.
I got you,
I really
yeah.
enjoy both of them, but
It's telling
I do think A is 1942.
So you don't think one is worth $10 an ounce,
No.
the other one's worth $1.50 an ounce?
No.
Okay.
No, not in the black.
All right. On the tequila, you both got it correct. Good job, gentlemen.
Okay. It was close.
I didn't
Yeah.
expect that I would get that one right.
When I first drank A though, I was like, man, I think that's bourbon barrel. I really did.
So and again, I think they both might be aged in bourbon barrels.
Yeah.
I
I just think though on the label you
where
think
it
it'd
says
be more
it, yeah.
pronounced, right?
Yeah, Espolón does say it. Don Julio is, I think it is, but
Yeah.
it's just secondary aging like a lot of products they'll do. They use bourbon
That
barrels in
Espolón's
there.
pretty good, man.
Yeah,
I like them both.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that you all thought they were so close. That's kind of
I enjoy
it's kinda
tequila
cool to see.
too, though, as compared to like vodka for me. So I will sip tequila.
All right, we're going to move on to our rum competition here.
Okay.
I'm gonna drink some water.
Here are your rumsins, gentlemen.
All right.
I've got B. You got a C.
All right. So for our rum matchup, we have Bacardi and Bacardi. Same distillery, maybe same recipe, definitely different aging times. One is Bacardi Gold. The Bacardi Gold was $12. It comes out to 47 cents an ounce, 40% alcohol, aged 1 to 2 years in toasted white oak barrels. And it is charcoal filtered. That is all the information that I could find on that one. Everything else is literally party marketing. Not like, oh, buy this because it's good. It's, oh, buy this if you want to get drunk.
Damn.
The Bacardi Grand Reserva Diez is $39. It comes out to $1.54 an ounce, so it's 3 times more expensive.
Okay.
Also 40% ABV, and this one is 10 years old, as noted in the name, Diez, which is Spanish for
10, I think.
8.
I'm gonna taste that C again when you get a second.
Yeah. Go back for both
What
of them.
are your thoughts, Jason?
I'll tell you there's something about C though. It's like you ever take a pill, like you've had a antibiotic,
Yeah.
and you get like an aftertaste?
Okay.
Like it's like chalky, like it's not a pleasant. That's kind of what I'm getting from C.
You're getting that on C? Okay.
C.
Chalky, okay.
Like I don't know how else to describe it.
Okay.
Just like it's like you took a big ass, huge horse pill antibiotic, took a drink of water, and it's still like hanging in your throat, and you can
Where the
taste a little
fuck
bit
are
of
you
it
getting your antibiotics from?
from the antibiotic store.
From an equine veterinarian?
Some dude in the corner, man. Shit, made me feel a little funny, but it helped. It helped.
He's like, yeah. He's like, I didn't know your vet was, or your doctor's office was in a barn, sir.
I think I like B better.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
I think that after that weird taste on C, I don't love.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say B. I guess I'm gonna say it's the older one.
Is the difference you're getting only on the finish? Primarily on the finish?
The finish are similar. I mean, like the length of it, but that
Right.
C, just the taste, I don't love that taste.
Okay.
Whatever
So it
that
is something to you that's off.
Yeah, something to me. It's
In
an off
C.
flavor for me.
But the flavor profile all around?
Yeah, I mean, it's rum. I can tell that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's about all I got for it, though.
All right. What do you think, Drew?
I mean, my tongue's burning a little bit right now.
You guys keep revisiting this one, and you're
Yeah.
gonna go through like 6 ounces of rum trying to figure it out. And you're.
I'm gonna say C is the 10-year, the Grand Reserve.
Okay.
Just because
It's smoother.
a little smoother.
Okay. And you think B is the.
The Bacardi Gold, yeah, just
Okay.
the regular.
For this one, the correct answer was Jason. You got it right. Drew,
You
got it.
said B was Grand Reserve?
Yeah, I said B was honestly though, just only because of aftertaste.
Yeah.
Like I thought C had a weird aftertaste.
But you both basically
But it's smoother.
said that you couldn't tell which one was more expensive.
no,
No, not more expensive.
Like
no.
definitively.
no.
Interesting. Okay.
I mean, I thought this was more smooth, and that's
Yeah.
the younger one.
Yeah.
That's the gold. So
So it's interesting to see because this matchup specifically, there's a huge age difference.
Yeah.
Right. One is like 1 to 2 years,
Yeah.
and the other one is 10 years. So it's like, how much flavor difference are we really getting out of that? And again, this is rum. I know you're used to bourbon, but
yeah. But I think it goes back to like a Scotch too. If you look at Scotch, like you'll see some they're 25, 30, 50.
Right.
They're years old.
Yeah.
And those are different than bourbon. Like what's the oldest bourbon I've ever seen? I mean, labeled probably 23. You know what I mean?
Right,
Maybe
yeah.
25, but you don't see older than that.
No.
In Scotch, that's nothing. You know,
Yeah.
so I think
that's
it's
like
saying
the low end of the
yeah,
spectrum.
yeah, right. So I think for what this shows me on rum is if you're going to age it, it needs to go way long. Like
Okay.
10 years might be
Think.
2 in bourbon. You know, maybe.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
Well, isn't that that one Zapacata, right, that we've had that's like,
Zacapa, yeah.
Zacapa, yeah.
Zacapa, yeah.
yeah, like,
That one,
there's like don't they have like a 20 year?
I can't.
Oh,
I
they
think
got-
it's
they
like
got
20 or
some
23.
big ages, yeah, on rum for sure.
And I love that one.
Yeah.
And it's nice that you can get that like off the shelf
Yeah.
rather than have to hunt it down. But yeah, it's interesting. That's interesting that you all were thinking that it was actually that close.
Honestly, if the aftertaste didn't turn me off, I'd have probably agree with Drew on which one was which.
Really?
So,
Okay.
because it was smoother.
Well,
the
you
gold
even,
was smoother.
you even said you're basically guessing is like, yeah,
100%.
I'm going to go with the aftertaste.
Yeah,
on
I'm
that.
just a good guesser.
Interesting.
See.
The gooder guesser, yeah. All right, final one. We're going to do Eagle Rare versus Ben. I almost handed you the bottles.
I'll take
figure
that.
y'all
That's
just
fine.
gonna keep on drinking here. Let me write that down. All right, so this one I'm gonna hand them to you. You more or less know the differences here, but I'll give you a little bit. I'll give you some notes.
There's B and D.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
price on
the
there,
benchmark, both of these are from Buffalo Trace, Sazerac Company. You know, Benchmark's considered bottom shelf, but they did a series, so they've got foolproof, top shelf, top floor, single barrel. They got some different ones that came out. These are probably like
have a
25
barrel
bucks.
proof too,
They
right?
do.
Yeah.
Well, I think it might be foolproof. But either way,
Yeah.
they got
Yeah.
some. They probably got 4. They're all under like 30 bucks. So compared to Eagle Rare, that the price keeps going up on, even if you go to Buffalo Trace itself, you're going to pay $42.99 now.
Right.
Is it
So
really?
when
it used to
I-
be like 35,
Used to be,
right?
Hell, it used to be 30. You know,
Yeah.
30, 35 bucks. So, you know, if you go Liquor Bar or Total Wine, they're probably pushing 55, 60. It's like their big box stores. So Eagle Rare is hard to get. It's allocated. I've heard it's actually came off of allocation. So like bars can get it and stuff. But 10-year-old 90 proof versus I think this one is about 4 years old and 95 proof.
Come on, the benchmark.
Yep, and they're the same exact mash bill. Now, Buffalo Trace does not disclose details about mash bill. They don't tell you what percentage corn or barley, malt, whatever.
Okay.
But this is mash bill 1, and they're both the same mash bill.
Okay.
I think I've got it picked off the nose, but I'm going to try them too.
Well, what are you getting off the B?
Sweet.
Here's the D, man. You can have that.
Yeah.
Take that D.
I like the
Everybody
D.
needs a little D.
Yeah. No, that had like I like a little bit of sweetness on that one.
I'm over here drinking
Again.
while you all are drinking.
Good.
I'll
Well,
get
you
mine
should
in.
be. You should be. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm a fan of like the everyday bourbon. Now, Eagle Rare is one of my favorite bourbons of all time. I always have at least one bottle open in my house. Sorry, at least one bottle.
Right.
It's usually open at the house. And I mean, I've been doing that for, 20 years maybe. So I've loved it for as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
But I've been noticing like how Benchmark, just now knowing that it's the same mash bill.
Yeah.
And, they're trying to do some other things with,
Right.
the single barrels and the full proofs or whatever. It's it makes it more accessible, I think, to more people.
What's interesting too, I mean, what makes them, Matt asked me earlier, maybe you did, what makes them different? And honestly, I don't know. It's somebody that says, hey, this one's Eagle Rare and this one's Benchmark.
Right.
Even though they're aged longer. I mean,
They're like, let's take this barrel and put it in Eagle Rare.
yeah,
bottle.
but
We'll
let's
take this
say
barrel
like
and put it in Benchmark.
at 4 years old, when you're getting ready to bottle these, because Benchmark is bottled at 4, I guess you take 2 barrels and say this one's going to be Benchmark today and this one's going to go 6 more years and be Eagle Rare. I don't know what else you do.
Yeah.
Other ones on Mash Bill 1, you got regular Buffalo Trace and then E.H. Taylor. So this is their low rye mash bill,
Right.
is what
Okay.
they think it is anyway.
And we don't know what percent any of that
Not a
is
clue.
because it's proprietary.
Yeah, I mean they're probably the the least information disclosed distillery there is. Honestly.
Well, and it goes back to what we were talking about that sort of
brand mysticism.
The brand mysticism, yeah.
I just want to let you all know while you're doing the bourbon, back behind my booth here, I tasted all the ones you've already tasted, and I got them all right.
Yeah, you did.
I did.
Sure.
100. I got 100% of them all right.
You're a savant.
I know.
Or maybe just an idiot.
He's something.
One of the two. Yeah.
I can read.
So what do you think on these, Drew? Which one you think?
So me, the lay person, I think D is Benchmark, and I think B is Eagle Rare.
Okay.
That's kind of what I got.
I think it's backwards. I think D's Eagle Rare and B's Benchmark.
On this one, the correct answer was Jason. Again.
Surprisingly,
I know.
the bourbon guy. Yeah.
Well, the guy that owns it all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'll say this though. This made me appreciate Benchmark a lot more.
Right.
It's close, and I think that 5% proof and the extra 6-year age is the difference, right? It's smoother.
Yeah.
I know it's a weird term if you're talking bourbon, but it's smoother. It's more rounded out. I think the finish on Benchmark's longer.
Okay.
I do think,
And maybe that's where I kind of got it backwards.
yeah, I'd like to see that Benchmark aged 2 more years, and I think it's 6 years. I think that's a fighter with Eagle. I mean, like it's a
I could
really
totally
good
see
competitor.
them coming out with a version like that, too.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah,
I mean, and again though, but you're not competing because most people that go on the shelves that buy bourbon aren't a bourbon nerd.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Right.
if I looked at this on the shelf though, and I see Benchmark down here,
Yeah.
and Eagle Rare's up here, it says limit 1 per person, and they have it in stock.
Yeah.
I'm always going to reach for Eagle Rare if I'm like excited about bourbon.
Sure. Right.
But for an everyday drinker, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, for $24.99, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah. And how much was the Eagle Rare bottle again?
So let's call it 45. So it's roughly double.
twice as
Is it
expensive.
twice as good?
That's
I don't
the
know.
question. That's
And
the question.
It's 45
Yeah.
at the distillery.
Correct.
Which we're fortunate enough to be able to drive 30 minutes
Right.
and get it.
But you only get 1 bottle every 90 days. Like,
Right.
I mean,
Right.
you can't stock up. So.
Yeah.
So I think what needs to be illustrated here is what you just said about the price. It's just like if something was off by like a couple bucks or $5 or something like that,
Yeah.
maybe a premium versus non-premium could be warranted in these blinds because a lot of these were like, oh, that's pretty damn close, right? But some of these, like the tequila, especially, like.
Oh, yeah.
That is a huge discrepancy in these two. Now, again, I got the little airplane bottle.
It's still the price per ounce. It's,
If you get a big bottle of Don Julio, it's $7.73 an ounce. So that's still 4 to 5 times more expensive.
right.
That is a huge discrepancy. And both of you were like, they're both good.
Yeah.
Like, is that 5 times more expensive? Not really.
And I think the rum was total guess.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just flip a coin.
But like the rum and then the bourbon, what I enjoy seeing here is that Drew enjoys bourbon. He doesn't collect it. He doesn't analyze mash bills. Jason, you do.
a little.
A little, yeah. But then we put them together, like
Yeah.
both of you, and it's just kind of like, well, they both have their merits. They're both very close. So it's like, is the hype really worth it? And that's really the question at the end of the day. Is the marketing of a premium spirit really make it a better product?
Well, and I don't even know if it's the marketing necessarily. I think it's the allure that is created in the ether of social media and everything
Sure,
else.
yeah.
Where,
And I think that's part of the marketing process, even though it's not directly from the manufacturer.
Right.
It's that whole hype aspect.
The simple
Right.
fact, though, was like, let's look at the Eagle Rare and Benchmark. Which of those bottles is sexier?
the Eagle Rare, 10 out of 10.
Look at your Bacardi. Is that plastic or glass?
Oh, it's definitely
plastic.
Yeah. So which one's
it's
nicer?
like a cushion.
Yeah.
Look at your Don Julio. Look at that.
Yeah.
That
Look at
bottle
the
is
Grey Goose.
awesome. Look at
Yeah.
Grey
Right.
Goose. Like
Yeah.
that
That's a
bottle
lot-
probably costs 3 or 4 times more than the other one.
expensive. Exactly right.
And that's again brand mysticism we talked about before, which is wild when you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that obviously every single one of these has a place, where you're going to do it. Like, I have never purchased a Benchmark bottle.
I haven't
First
either,
one I've ever
actually.
bought.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Let me try those shits.
So, which one is which, man?
You got them right. That's where you got them right.
Oh,
He's
don't
like,
worry. I'll figure them out. Let me look at my.
100%.
Oh, I've already figured it out. I haven't even tasted
But,
them yet.
like, I sort of went on this, not really mission, I guess, where I would go to liquor stores and be like, I'm going to try to find something that is like a bottom shelf. It's like a
value.
Value, but is going to have some good flavors. I'd find some BIB bottles, and they're, like I can drink them straight.
Yeah.
They're okay with a mixer also because you're going to get a little bit higher proof, but you're also not going to feel bad about mixing, a $42 a bottle bourbon with a little bit of ginger ale or whatever. You don't feel as bad about that. And so I think there's nothing wrong with, obviously, the benchmarks are doing a great job.
For sure.
And I don't know what other distilleries, and Jason, maybe you can
add
something to this.
Yeah, sure.
Like what other distilleries are doing something that's considered a bottom shelf, where they have something that's similar to a more premium.
I think you stay with Buffalo Trace to see other examples, and here's the biggest one. When I first started drinking bourbon, like I would say seriously and trying to understand it, is you would see Pappy. Everybody knows what Pappy is. It's got that mystique around it, whatever. But you see Pappy, it's like, well, I can't get that. And then you find out from a rumor, from a friend, from somebody, Weller is the same mash bill as Pappy. They're both wheated bourbons.
Yeah.
Then you see the bottom shelf Weller that was like $12 or something.
Oh, yeah.
Went to now it's like 30, 25, 30. It's like, what? But again, that was the first time I realized it's close. But when you had Weller starting out, we're mixing that. I remember they mix it at like tailgates in sixtels with L8. And it would just be mixed and just pour it out of there into like a drink with slush or ice or whatever you want.
It was a bottom
Ale8,
shelf.
for everybody who doesn't know, Ale8 is a local drink that comes from Winchester, Kentucky.
Yep.
We call it swamp water sometimes. But it's kind of
they
like...
need to be a sponsor.
It's like a blend of ginger ale and almost like Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew.
It's kind of in that ballpark. So anyway.
But that's when I first realized that of like the similarity. Now, if I'd have thought about it, I wouldn't have minded to put a Weller up against one of these, but here's the difference. It's a wheated mash bill,
of course,
versus this mash. Like I feel like a wheater you can probably pick out.
Yeah.
Now, if you put the best Weller antique pick I ever had came from a store in Tennessee, and I thought that was the one. It was about 9 years old, 107 proof, and I had a bottle of Old Rip Van Winkle, which is the lower end Pappy, 10-year-old, 107 proof. So 10-year, 107 proof, 8, 9-year, 107 proof. And I put them together, and Old Red Van Winkle kicked the shit out of it.
Really? Okay.
It surprised me. Okay. But again, same mash bill. So I think there are exceptions to this, but in general, I think you can find a lot of things like Drew said on the bottom shelf that are very similar to the higher price things.
And I think that's the fun part about what we're doing is actually finding those.
Very fun.
Like, is premium really worth it? I guess at the end of the day, and
well, you asked me back to your other question. I don't want to get off track that bad, but you asked me about another distillery. I think Wild Turkey's a good one. They have one mash bill, so they have one mash bill for bourbon and one for rye. So for their top end stuff, some of the Russell's 15s, you're looking at about $300 for a retail perspective, $250, $300. If you find a Russell's Reserve single barrel pick, they're probably $60 to $80, and some of those can rival that 15.
Right.
They might not beat it, but they're going to be damn close.
Right. And what about the Russell 10?
100%. It's a lower proof, but it's a fantastic value bourbon.
Yeah.
And for the money, I think Wild Turkey is the best value in bourbon for the money, for me.
I'm with you on that one.
Sorry, I'm way off now.
I also have a bottle of 101 open in my house all the time.
At all times.
I got a fucking handle right here. I got this shit on standby just for whatever reason, just in case. You never know, you're gonna need to bust out.
I got the little fancier.
He's got a fancier one.
Jimmy Russell,
Jimmy
70th, 8-year age stated.
But I guess to answer the question at the end of the day, is premium worth it? And I think the answer is sometimes.
But not all the time.
Not
definitive.
But I think it's important to understand that when you go to a liquor store and you're looking at it, a lot of it is just marketing. Whether that marketing be the bottle, whether it honestly be the barrel, or how long it's aged. Sometimes depending on the medium, depending on the conditions, depending on the distiller, like all that stuff can affect it. You can have something that's aged for 10 years that tastes like shit something that was aged for 2 years, it could like blow it out of the water. It really is. Marketing plays a huge part of it.
Especially in other spirits besides bourbon. We're not just talking bourbon for everybody listening and not watching.
Right, yeah. So to definitively answer the question, the answer is maybe.
It's worth
it sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. So I don't know. This was a cool experiment.
It was.
I appreciate you all doing the legwork. I got them all right.
I can't believe you got them all right. Somebody else did. Well, somebody else did blind.
We did the legwork, but my legs don't work.
If you like the episode, please share it. We appreciate it. And if you didn't, then keep drinking until you do. You can follow us on all the socials. We are at Arsenic Culture, and we'll see you on the next one.
Subscribe.